The Battle of Gettysburg is known as one of the bloodiest battles of the Civil War. In the 3 days that it took the Union Army to defeat the Confederates, over 175,000 men were fighting for their lives in the small farming town of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. July 1st through July 3rd, 1863, were some of the bloodiest days in American history. It is estimated that 23,049 Union soldiers were killed, wounded, captured, or missing. Confederate soldiers faced a similar fate. Around 23 to 28,000 soldiers were killed, wounded, captured, or missing. 51,000 men and 5,000 horses serving in the cavalry perished on those 3 hot summer days. In this video, you will learn about key events that happened during the battle and visit important historical sites in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. What you're looking at now is known as the railway cut. The Confederates had an advantage after they took out the 147th New York Regiment. They decided to take advantage of this and plan an attack on McPherson Ridge, which you'll see upcoming. They thought that jumping into the railway cut would provide perfect cover, but once all of their troops got inside, they realized they made a mistake. The cut was too deep, and they couldn't reach over the sides to fire at the approaching Union soldiers, and it was also too tall, so they couldn't climb out. This was a grave mistake for the Confederates because they lost many men at this railway cut. What you're looking at now is known as McPherson Ridge. Do you see that red barn on the left? That is the only remnant of the McPherson farm that once crowned this ridge. Both sides used that barn as a makeshift hospital. Many Civil War soldiers on the Confederate and Union sides were treated and had amputations at that very barn over 200 years ago. This is Little Round Top. Scouts on the Confederate side told General Longstreet that there were hardly any Union defenders on top of Little Round Top. Well, that was true in the morning, but by the afternoon that completely changed. Union Colonel Vincent noted the lack of defenders and spent the morning filling in the gaps. By now, he positioned 4 new regiments on top of this hilltop. When the parched Confederates tried to charge up the hill in the blazing July heat, they met the full force of a new defensive array of Union soldiers. The Union repelled one attack after another. Time and time again, Longstreet's Confederates failed to reach the summit and were pushed back. Then, the Union regiments started running out of ammunition. Without missing a beat, they fixed bayonets to their rifles and bravely charged down the hill, chasing the Confederates. The exhausted Confederate soldiers didn't even bother to fight. They threw down their weapons, surrendered, or ran and fled. On the opposite side of Little Round Top, the fighting was more fierce. And for a moment, it looked like the Confederates may have actually been able to take the hill. Luckily, reinforcements arrived in the nick of time, and the 140th New York Union Regiment beat back the attackers, securing Little Round Top. The area between Little Round Top and Devil's Den is known as the Valley of Death. During the assault on Little Round Top, hundreds of Confederate soldiers sprinted across this valley to try and scale the hill on the opposite side of Little Round Top. But Union Brigadier General Samuel Crawford was ready for them. There was too much open ground and the hill was too steep. Union men defeated hundreds of Confederate soldiers trying to cross this valley. As night approached, Crawford ordered his men to charge down the hill into the valley to make work of the remaining Confederate soldiers. Can you imagine what it must have looked like on the evening of July 2nd? Some say the blood of hundreds of dead soldiers flowed into this stream pictured, causing it to run red for hours. This is known as Devil's Den. On July 2nd, during the attack on Little Round Top, Confederate sharpshooters set up positions among the volcanic rocks. From the safety of the rocky cover here, They were able to pick off Union soldier after Union soldier. The Union tried to rush the Confederates' position and drive the sharpshooters out, but time and time again, they failed. Pictured here is the Dobbin House. It is the oldest building in Gettysburg. It was built by Reverend Alexander Dobbin in 1776 to act as a home for his massive family, as well as serve as a school. In the mid-1800s, the Dobbin House became the first stop on the Underground Railroad, just above the Mason-Dixon line. Before, during, and after the Battle of Gettysburg in 1863, the Dobbin House acted as a field hospital for both Union and Confederate soldiers. Do you see that red door on the front? That door is original to the Dobbin House and was used as a surgeon's table during the Battle of Gettysburg. This is known as the Jenny Wade House. Jenny Wade was the only civilian killed during the Battle of Gettysburg. In this home, you can find many artifacts that were around during the Battle of Gettysburg, and you can even see the hole from the bullet that killed Jenny Wade. On the morning of July 1st, 1863, the first day of battle, Jenny fled her central Gettysburg home with her mother and two younger brothers to the home of her sister, Georgia McClellan. In McClellan's home, Jenny helped the Union soldiers by baking bread and refilling their canteens. The situation became particularly dangerous after Union troops retreated through town amidst the onrush of pursuing Confederates. On the early morning hours of July 3rd, 1863, as Jenny labored alone in the kitchen making biscuits for the Union soldiers, a bullet passed through the kitchen door, struck her in the left shoulder blade, and ended up in her chest. She was killed instantly and was later discovered by the Union soldiers, who then notified her family. To this day, Jenny Wade is one of only two women in the history of the United States that has the honor of having the American flag flown 24 hours a day at her gravesite. Pictured here is the site of the Gettysburg Address, located in the National Cemetery of Gettysburg. Given the monumental nature of the battle, most people expected President Lincoln to deliver quite a lengthy speech. But Lincoln didn't want to steal the attention that he believed belonged to the Union soldiers who sacrificed their lives here on the battlefield. His speech lasted only 4 minutes. It was so short, in fact, that the photographer couldn't even finish getting a picture before it was over. Along with Jenny Wade, there are still 3,500 Union soldiers who died on this battlefield that are buried in this cemetery today. Thank you for watching the Battle and Sights of Gettysburg with Miss Ashraf. Hopefully one day you can visit this historic town.